Hello everyone, it's Andrew from Hobbies Australia, and this week on Show Us Your Kits, we're going to have a look at a new offering from AFV Club, 35023, the M113A1 medium reconnaissance vehicle as used by the Australian Army. AFV 35023. This kit was originally released in 1999, and the people at AFV Club used a lot of the tooling from Academy. And if you've ever actually seen the artwork for the original 35023 and then you compare it to what we're looking at today, there's some very, very noticeable changes. So the first thing we can see with the box art, of course, it's the normal strong top opening box that we would associate with AFV Club. It's a 1/35 scale. The Australian Army, the rising sun badge is shown there on the box top. The M113A1 MRV, medium reconnaissance vehicle, as used by the Australian Army up until the mid to late 90s. Box art is really, really nice. We can see there the completed model, a couple of different angles of the finished model, and it really is a striking looking piece of equipment. As we would expect from the people at AFV Club, as I said, it's a solid top opening box, the box top, then we look at the sides. We've got images of the completed model. On here we've got images of sprues, of decals, and also of the photo-etch. On the sides, just the normal blurb. So when I open the box up, what do I find inside? Well, of course, we've got the new hull from AFV Club. This is from 35113, so it's from the family of M113 carriers that AFV Club do. I've got 16 sprues in total, all nice, crisp plastic, flash-free, which all looks very, very nice, and we'll just quickly shuffle through there. The one thing that I did see is that because this kit is, I guess, an amalgamation of 4 or 5 different AFV Club kits where they've taken hull and running gear from one M113, they've got the Scorpion turret from a different model, they've got parts from 35291 last year or the year before's offering of an M113A1 in Australian service. You can really see, I guess, the evolution of some of the sprues, the moulding techniques that have come to play at AFV Club. So 16 sprues, the tub. The tracks are the rubber band style, okay, but what we have here is when you get them together, there's actually little metal pins supplied which allow you to lock the tracks together. I quite actually like this style. I think with careful painting and weathering, I can then rough up the rubber pads to get a really natural look. Of course, if you don't want to use what's supplied in the box, well, there's various aftermarket options out there, whether they be Lincoln length, whether they be white metal, lots and lots of options out there for the modeler for whatever he or she chooses to use. So apart from the plastic, apart from the hull, apart from the tracks, we also have a nice little sheet there of photo-etch metal, and we have the decal sheet. Now, as per normal, Ryan will get us images, close-up images of the sprues, the decals, etc. during the course of the video for you to have a look at. But all in all, this is a very, very nicely rendered model of what was a very unique and very standout piece of equipment used by the Australian Army. So the instructions are in an A4 format. There's 16 odd pages. The external pages are of a glossy finish, and that's got to do where the paint callouts are. But flicking through this, the instructions are clear, they're clean, they're precise, they're not too onerous to use at all. There are a couple of options in the actual build sequence, so I would suggest to you, please sit down with a cup of coffee and maybe a highlighter before you start the build, and go through so you can determine what particular model or variant or vehicle that it is that you want to build. Now, we'll point out a couple of things here when we get back to the sprues, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4 marking options, okay, for the vehicle in Australian service. We have 2 colour schemes. We have the olive drab, or we have the very striking Ozcam finish. Now, I did mention about the age and some of the sprues where AFV Club have taken kits and they've cobbled it together to give us this rendition, which is a really nice model. But when we look at some of the sprues, we'll see, I guess, an evolution or a transition of what was all the rage 15 years ago versus what's currently supplied to us when we buy a brand new cutting edge model. Now, when I look at something like this, which is the Turret sprue, firstly, the plastic is very, very soft, so you need to be careful when you're removing the attachment points to make sure that you don't cut too close to the part, because the plastic is so soft it'll actually eat into what you're trying to protect. The other thing is, and we'll try and pick it up here, you can actually see there, part of the sprue connecting tab is actually on the mating surface. So you need to be really careful when you're filing those down to make sure that you don't damage any of the mating surface, any of the details. So very much a case of measure twice, cut once. Go carefully with your sanding stick, maybe finishing it off with a glass file, and then once you've got it all put together, then checking your seams and your joins to make sure that they're as you would really like them. A couple of other things that are a little bit different in this kit that I find anyway is with the clear transparent parts, we normally would only see in an armoured fighting vehicle things like light lenses and driver's periscopes. Well, this kit's been done a little bit differently, and I was a bit surprised by this. Firstly, I've got the gun mantlet done in clear plastic, different. Secondly, I've got the 30 caliber M113A1 machine gun, also done in clear plastic, so it's split laterally on the breech block. So there's a couple of parts that need to go together to get this weapon finished off. But it's interesting they used it in the clear transparent sprue. I don't think I've ever seen that done before. I'm going to build it as is because I just want to see what it turns out like. And if not, well, with this kit, there's an awful lot of parts that aren't used that are going to find their way into your spare parts box. So something like this, you probably have a 30 caliber machine gun maybe in your spare parts box already, or there are other various aftermarket options available. When we look at this kit, because it's the medium reconnaissance vehicle, there's not much in the way of internal detail, and that's primarily because the whole thing about this armoured fighting vehicle is looking at it from externally with the gun turret on it, the finish, the flotation compartments that were attached to the outside of the standard M113A1. So in regards to internal detail, there's not a lot. I can see in through the driver's hatch, so I've got firewalls in there, I've got an instrument panel, I've got some decals to go on the side of the firewall. But for internal detail, that's pretty much about it. These things weren't so much about getting infantrymen into position, they were more about providing support. So even though the back door may have been opened time to time, there's no interior as we would normally assume with an infantry fighting vehicle to highlight on the vehicle. So we do this all buttoned up, maybe with the gunner and the commander's hatch open, maybe with the driver's hatch open, entirely up to you. But like I said, there's not a lot of interior detail that needs to be called out. So it's very much up to the builder's personal preference. As a final overview, AFV Club 35023, it's a kit, as I said, that was released in 1999. It's not been available for quite some time. You see it pop up on the second-hand sales market groups, that type of thing, and it does command a pretty impressive price for what it was. I'm really glad to see this back. I'm even happier to see that it's been updated. I'm certainly happier that I don't have to look at the crazy box art that the original offering was provided with. But the pros here, it's another Australian armoured fighting vehicle in 135th. Two, it's from a great brand. We know AFV Club, we know they can do a top job, and they do knock it out of the park all the time. Stock of this kit will be here with us at Hobbies Australia towards the middle of June, and we'll have that to stores by the end of June, barring any delays with freight, but that's where we're currently looking at. On the downside, I guess, on the kit, some of the big attachment points some of the attachment points, as I said, are really quite large and not what you would expect. And also some of the attachment points, as I pointed out with the turret, are in really awkward places or places that are going to need a lot of careful cleanup. I think this is a great kit. I actually have taken this home and started playing around with it, taping parts together, pulling things apart, having a look about what can be done, what can't be done. and I think it's going to be a great kit. I think it's going to be in very, very high demand. I'm actually thinking of building mine in the Ozcam. I'm actually going to do it on a bit of a raised concrete plinth and have it, as you see a lot of these vehicles displayed now, as either gate guards at various military bases or at the front of the local ex-services club as a memorial. And I think that is really going to be strike out. We're really fortunate. The range of Australian themed kits is ever expanding. This is another example of what's going on. And also very shortly I'll have, and we've done a video about this previously, the 172nd Australian Centurion from Vespid. Now that will be arriving in the next little while with us here at Hobbies Australia as well. So lots of good product coming in, lots of things of interest to Australian modelers, and it's really great to see this product coming through, and we've got lots more in the pipeline. So that's it from me today. Keep an eye out. AFV Club 35023, coming soon to a retail store and online near you. As always, if you like what we're doing, if you've got any comments, please use that subscribe button down there. You put your comments down below and we'll respond to those as quickly as we can. So, until next time we get a chance to catch up, I'm Andrew from Hobbies Australia. Stay safe, take care, and as always, let's build more kits.